one doesn't. Worked out. They have a Rav in Cherry Hill. Right wing, very nice guy from Fresh.
Okay.
No,
It's
she's
recorded.
not here yet. It's time.
Ready to go.
Good morning. Good morning, Janusz.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. How are you? All right. This is the week where we talk about Balak.
Good.
Chazal tell us that we should have. There's one opinion that we should have recited the whole parsha of Balak as part of Kriya Shema, except that they felt it would be too much trouble, too much tircha. People have to get up, go to work, be farmers. Too much trouble to recite it, but it's so special that this is the hashkacha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has on us that we're not even aware of. Had the Torah not told us, we would never know that Bilam was ready to curse us, to annihilate us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not let him, and that really it's Hashem who watches over us even when we're not aware. Hashem is Shomer Yisrael, watching over Israel throughout our history. Okay, so Bilam is beseeched by Balak and the heads of Midian, and the heads of Moab, to come. They try to hire him as a hired curser, because they know he's a special holy in a non-sacred way, in a sacrilegious way. They know that he has connections. They know that he's a prophet and that he has connection to God. And they try to hire him as a hired gun to find the weakness of this people, Israel, and try to curse them. And they weren't stupid people where we can think that, oh, well, yeah, we want to curse, like we want to curse our enemies. No, they picked a person that Chazal tell us knew when Hashem gets angry. He was so close, he was tuned in spiritually on the wavelength that he knew the weaknesses of Klal Yisrael, and he would be the perfect candidate to say to Hashem, this people do not deserve your divine protection and providence. These people, look at what they do, look at how they live. These people really don't deserve your promises, God. They deserve curses instead of blessings. So he would force Hashem's hand, because Hashem is all about tzedek. It's all about righteousness. And if you are undeserving, you should not be getting God's beneficence. And that's what they hired. They hired somebody who had the ability to do that. Okay. But he says, Vayakumu sarei Moab, Vayavo el Balak, Vayomru me'ein Bilam halochi manu. He said, I can't go with you, because Hashem said, Al te'lechi mahem, don't go with them. You can't curse this nation, ki baruchu, because it is a blessed nation. You can't not curse them. You won't be able to. So Bilam says, I'm sorry, I can't go. What's the story? It says, Vayosef od Balak. And they continued. They came again. Vayosef od, they continued. Balak continued again. He didn't stop. He continued. Shaloach sorim rabim v'nechbadim mi'elas. He sent another emissary, a nicer royal entourage to come and invite Bilam. Vayavo el Bilam, and they came to Bilam and they said, Ko amar Balak ben Sipar. So said the king Balak, Al nasi monam mehaloch Eloi. Please do not refrain from going to me. Ki chabed achabedcha. I shall honor you greatly. V'chol asher tomar elai e'aseh. And everything you say to me, I shall do. Basically, name your price. Name your price, Bilam. Anything you want is yours. I will honor you tremendously. Ulachana, just go and kavo liyasa amazeh, curse this nation. It was worth the billions and billions. It was worth their entire. He wanted to give him anything he wanted, but he didn't say that. We're going to dissect the words carefully. He says, Ki chabed achabedcha, I will honor you greatly. Didn't say I'm going to pay you. I'm going to honor you. So this is where the fun starts. Bayan Bilam, Vayomer Lavdei Balak. So Bilam, who previously said, no, God will not let me go. I can't go. This time he didn't say that. He said, Im yiten li Balak. If Balak will give me Melo Veso, Kesed Zahav, his house full of silver and gold. Lo ucha la'avor es pi Hashem Elokoi. I cannot transgress the words of Hashem, my God. Lasos ketana o gadola, to do anything small or great. What did he say? Oh, look who's here. Welcome from Israel. How are you? Jonathan is here from Israel. Hi. Jonathan and Lainey, how was the flight?
Yep, we are here.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, so we got into the story. Let me tell you very quickly. Bilam says no to Balak's last offer. Balak says, I will honor you greatly. But Bilam said, if you give me Meloveso Kesed V'Zahav, you give me if he gives me his entire household of gold and silver, La'ucha Lavar, I cannot transgress the command of Hashem to do anything. I am helpless, I cannot, okay. He named the price, right? Bilam named the price. Balak never said to him, I'll give you all the money in the world, all the money I have. He never said that. Bilam named his price. So here comes the Rashi. What does Rashi say? Below Beso, Kesed Zahav, his full household, gold and silver. Limdanu Shanafsho Rachava. This teaches us that he's a big Baal Taiva. Nafsho Rachava, he is unsatiated. B'machamed mamon acherim, and he loves money and riches. Because that's on his mind. That's the price he wants. Omar, this is what Bilam's thinking. I'm worth it. Balak should give me Meloveso Kesef Zahav. I wish he would give me all his riches. Shaharei, Bilam understood the score. Tzarech liskor chayolos rabos, to defeat the Jewish people, you need a lot of power. You need a lot of might. You realize you're not going to defeat them. This nation, Moab, Midian, cannot defeat them. You need a lot of might, a lot of armies. Safek notzeach, safek eno notzeach. It's only a safek. If you have all the military might, maybe you'll win, maybe you won't. But me, with my ability, vadai notzeach. Absolutely, he will be victorious. Listen to the Balgaivanik. Not only he has such a great appetite and a lust for worldly possessions, but he says, I'm worth it. No problem. I can get the job done. Okay. So Rashi says, because Bilam said, name the price, Malo Veso, Kesef Zahav, that shows that he is a big, lustful, materialistic, and he really wants the money. And the Eish Tamid, who's Rabbi Yisrael Meir Druk, Janie and Lonathan, you can go visit him now. You're very close to him. The Eish Tamid says, how does that prove it? How does that prove that he really is a Baal Taivanik? Because what is he saying? True, he's mentioning Melobeso Kesef Zahav, but he's adding, even with all the money that he has, I still cannot violate Hashem's word. So how does that actually prove that he is a Baal Taivanik, that he really wants the money, right? I mean, it sounds like he's lustful, he's worldly, he's materialistic, but how does that prove it that he wants it? And he adds to this kasha. This week's Perikei Avos has a beautiful story, and many of you probably know it, so I'll just read it. Omar Rabbi Yehuda ben Kisma, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma said, Pam achas hayisi mahalech baderech. Once I was walking on the road, ufoga bi adam echad, and somebody bumped into me, met me, v'nasan li shalom, v'hekazarti lo shalom, and said shalom aleichem, and I responded aleichem shalom. Omar li, so this man said, Rabbi, me'eza makom ata, where do you come from? Amarti lo, I answered, Me'ir gedola shel chachamim v'shel sofrim ani. I am from a great city of scholars and sages, and I wanted to bring your NATEP Pirkei Avos, Mendy, because it has it line by line, the interlinear. Actually, I looked at it before and I didn't bring it here, so it's easier to translate. Shel Ir gedola, I come from a big city of sages and scholars. Omar li, Rabbi, Rabbi, would you be willing to live with us in our place? Yeah, we want you to live with us, our town. And I will give you elaf alafim bin zahav va'avadim tovos umargolios, and I will give you thousands upon thousands of golden dinars, precious stones, and pearls. I will make it worth your while, Rabbi. I will reward you with all this lavish. Can you imagine what a rabbi can do with that money? Most rabbis, and it's been this way for generations, for hundreds of years, if not thousands, rabbis always need, communities need money for mitzvahim, for things that have to get done.
You also use that money to attract other rabbis.
Yeah, sure. That's right. Beg the question, right? Makes the question even stronger, right? You can do all sorts of things. What's the answer? Amarti lo. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma answered, I said to him, Imata no sein li kol kesef v'zahav va'avadim tovos umargolio sheba'olam. Even if you were to give me all the silver and gold, sounds familiar, right? Precious stones and pearls in the world, Eini dar ela bimkom Torah. I will only agree to live in a place of Torah. And your town, unfortunately, is not a makom Torah, not like the one I come from. So I turned down your offer. And he brings psukim. I'll just say one pasuk. Tovli Torah's picha, the David HaMelech said, the Torah from your mouth, that means the Torah that I receive from you is better for me. Alfei zahav v'chosef is better to me than thousands of gold and silver. David HaMelech said, it's priceless. The Torah that I have, you cannot put a price on it. The Torah that I learned. Okay. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma basically said the same thing, right? He said the same thing. And Chazal do not tell us that he did anything wrong. In fact, it's a Mishnah. He did the right thing that we learned. This Mishnah is in the parak called Kinyan Torah. It's parak Vav, it's the sixth parak of Pirkei Avos, but Pirkei Avos has 5 prakim in the Mishnah. We have a 6th parak because Pirkei Avos is to be learned. The minhag is to learn it between Pesach and Shavuos, and there are 6 Shabbosim. So 5 Shabbosim is each parak, and the last parak is Kinyan Torah. It's a bunch of brisos that are put together is parak Kinyan Torah, the 6th parak of Pirkei Avos. Okay.
But I think you have to look at their intents also.
Okay, let's try to brainstorm the answer. Let's look at their intents. What else? Yeah, their intents. Elaborate.
What do you call what if Bilam's intent is he wants the money, so he just can't have it because God is telling him he can't have it. Over here, Yossi, he doesn't want it. He doesn't want it at all. He wants to stay back in his learning. That's what his intent is.
Okay, how can you, so you're telling me it depends on who says it. Depends on the person who says it.
The intent of the person, what he's really altruistic, but not already just putting on a show. Because
okay, so how do you prove from the words that Bilam really wants the money and that Rav Yossi really doesn't want the money? How do you prove? How do you prove from the words that Bilam really wants the money? Huh? Can't prove it?
You have to put the words very carefully.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. Right. Money was no object.
So that's what I was going to say. But I said, what this money doesn't mean that.
Right. He said, what is it? It's yeah. He in a backhanded way, he said, that they, wink, wink. That's what it really is. And Abraham immediately paid a lot of money because the Torah tells us over la socher, it was of the highest quality. Abraham was ready to pay anything to get that. You're right. So Abraham valued it more than Ephron did. Ephron valued the money. I tell the story of the Torah Tamima. The Torah Tamima, when he started out, wasn't going to go into sitting and learning. I mean, he knew how to learn. He was a son of the Aruch HaShulchan. The Torah Tamima in his Hakdama, I once did it here at the NATEP. The Torah Tamima said he had an offer back in late 1890s or early 1900s to go into banking. Could have been a banker, a nice Jewish banker. Would have had an easier life. So he would have had more money, but he was persuaded to sit and learn. I wonder if he said his father persuaded him or someone persuaded him to sit and learn. And he writes tongue in cheek that this is the result of his persuasion, of his taking the persuasion, the Torah Tamima that he bequeathed us. Had he been a banker, we would have been the ones without the treasure of the Torah Tamima. Yes.
You know the story of Rabbi Wine? The wine story, the story.
What's the story?
Rabbi Wine. He was basically became an attorney, and his first day on the job, he was so happy. He was going from place to place, client to client, and he was so successful. Right? He comes home at the end of the day and sits down and says, "Oh, this was famous," and then he remembered and that was the end of his career of being an attorney.
Baruch Hashem, that you, yeah, it's like the tzitzis hitting him it's like, Mendy, it's like the famous story, the tzitzis hitting him in the face. Indeed. Okay, so let's go through we have a few possible answers, and he puts it together, the Yesh Talmud. There are a few answers, and he says, number one, depends who is talking, like Mendy said. It's true that you only judge a person by what he says, but you have to know who it is that's saying something. Two people can say the exact same thing, or it's mostly the same thing, the same idea, And in one case, it's good. In the other case, it is bad. He gives an example, and I'll give a different example. Same idea. A teenager forgot to daven mincha. We'll use your example. And he says, oh man, I screwed up. Okay, I forgot to daven mincha. It's okay. Kids talk like that. It's fine. Had a Rosh Yeshiva said, had the rabbi said to his congregation, oh, I screwed up, that would be wrong to talk that way. Because, the person, the stature, you wouldn't expect a person a higher, more refined, you would expect higher speech from a person who's more refined. That's what he's saying over here. That's the first thing. Had this come out, the words, I want his entire house of Kesef and Zahav, had such words come out of a person of the stature of Rav Yossi ben Kisma, Rav Yossi ben Kisma is a holy person, a Makam Torah. Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma Atana, a holy person. So we take what he says, the same words, we take what he says, and we have to understand them, because it's a refined person. The refined person gets the benefit of the doubt. Try to understand what the person is saying. Is he saying something for an earthly reason, or is he saying something l'shem shamayim? Bilam was not a high, refined person. The opposite, lowly, unrefined person. If he says something, you don't take the benefit of the doubt. You say right away, he's got an ulterior motive, or this is his only motive. He's doing it only for himself. So because of the stature of the person, or the lack of stature of the person, we have to take what he says with the understanding that this is who it's coming from, unrefined. Okay, that's one. Let's get deeper into what the words were that they said. Let's look. Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, what happened? The person said, I want you to live in our city, and I will give you thousands, right? I will give you alafim dinrei zahav. I'll give you thousands of dinrim, that means coins, and margolios tovos, and I'll give you great precious stones. He mentioned the price. He said, this is what we're going to give you. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma answered from the same inyan, with the same words that the person asked him. And he said, that's what you want to give me? If you give me all the kesef and zahav shaba'olam, and abanim tovos margolia shaba'olam, give me all the money in the world, I'm not going to do it. Bilam, it doesn't say that I will give you, name your price. I was very careful. Chabed achabedcha, I will honor you. You'll be honored. My son once asked me, they made a kiddush for me at one shul, and for many years of laning and taking care of who gives a shiur, they were retiring me, and they said, we are honoring Rabbi Avi. My son said to me, Daddy, what does it mean at the kiddush? What does it mean we're honoring you? I said, we don't have to pay for this. That's what it means. Yeah, I was honored. They said, we're going to honor you. Balak never said, we're going to give you money. He said, we'll honor you with whatever you want. Bilam said, oh, honor me? Your house full of kesef and zahav. He mentioned the price. So we see that's on his mind. He's machamed. He has a lust. He has a desire for kesef and zahav. Okay. Let's see another one. What did Rabbi Yossi say? And I'm going to, I have to preface this with a story from the Gemara. The Gemara tells us in Baba Kama that the daughter of Rabbi Yishmael Bar Yehuda passed away young. So the Chachamim were going to be Menachem Ovel to Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yehuda. And they said to Ula, who was the great Amora then, Bo Nelech Yachad Lenachim Oso. Let's go together to be Menachem. No, Ula, the great sage Ula, and the Chachamim, it's more covered, they go together. Ula said, I'm not going with you. Ula was, I believe, an Amora of Eretz Yisrael, and they were Bavlim. Why? Ki atem menachamim kederech habavlim. Gemara tells us, that's what Ula said. You, the way you give nechama, they didn't just say hamokam yenachim eskam. What did they say? The Bavlim had a minhag to say, Ma efshar lasos, what can you do? This is God's will, what can you do? I mean, that's what we say a lot of the time. What can you do? And Ula held, and I'll tell you what the halacha is. The halacha says, Ula said, that's a giduf, that's blasphemy. What could you do? If you could do something, you would do something? God decides who lives and who dies. You're going to decide? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is God's will. You don't question and say, what can you do? In fact, the Ramah says in the Shulchan Aruch, Al Yomar Adam La'avel. Person should not say to a mourner, Malachol Lasos, what can you do? Ki efshar l'shana, she can't change it. It's God's will. Shezehu kegiduf. This is blasphemous. The mashma, it means, it sounds like in efshar l'shana, if you could change it, you would change it. Now, Yikabel olav gezeres Hashem yisbarach mi'ava, accept God's will, bi'ava. This is what God wanted. We don't understand why. We accept God's will. Thy will be done. It's ours. We accept God's will. Okay, so now let's go to Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma and Bilam. What did Bilam say? I'll read the words. Im yiten li balak melo beso kesef zahav. If Bilam gives me his whole household, kesef and zahav, lo uchal. I will not be able to. Lo uchal lalvares bi Hashem alokoi. I cannot transgress the command of Hashem to do anything big or small. What does it mean, lo uchal? If I could, I would. Lo uchal means I can't, but the way he spoke, it sounds like if I could, I would. Of course I would. You give me all the money in the world, I'll try very, very hard. I'll try harder than he ends up trying. He ended up actually causing us a lot of pain with the Benos Moav. But he tried. He tried to curse us. He would have tried harder with the Molo Beso Kesef Bizah. But Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, what did he say? If you give me all the money in the world, Eini Dar, didn't say I can't, says I will not live. Elo bimkom Torah, only in a Torah, and he brings the psukim Tovli Torah Spicha me'alpei zahav b'chasef. The Torah of your mouth, Hashem, is greater than all the money in the world. Even if he could give him all the money, he would. The Torah is more precious than all the money. It's not a matter of ability. It's a matter of his real desire not to live there. Okay. There's another chiluk. Are you ready? Another chiluk. Bilam said, Meloveso kesef bezahav. He gave a price that is possible. It's unlikely. It means all of Balak's money. It's not going to give him. I can't see Iran spending all of its oil, all of its money to acquire a nuclear a missile. It might, but I don't see them selling everything to acquire it. They'll sell millions, billions of dollars, but they're not going to give up the whole right. But that's what Bilam is saying. You gave me all your money, all your valuables, Moab. Then I can do it. That's the price. Rabbi Yossi just said, give me anything in the world, which is something that's impossible to do. Give me all the Zav, Abanim Tovos, Margolios in the world, which you, a person, there's no ability. One is, I know it's finite. Hashem can calculate how finite it is, but to an average person, that's an infinite amount. It says, there is no worldly price that will get me to live, only in a makom of Torah. By his using the term ba'olam, it shows that he's really not interested in the money. But we have Mendy's question. Mendy, what was your question about other rabbis, getting other rabbis?
No, I said, there's an upside to this because when you attract a rabbi to come in, there's a lot of money going around. You could attract other rabbis to come in also, and you could have a place where you do have learning, a lot of learning taking place.
Okay, you have the question. This is the Gaon. I don't know him. Laney and Jonathan can figure this out also. Rabbi Meir Dan Pletsky, probably from Eretz Yisrael. He wrote the Sefer Klei Chemda. So this is what the Eish Tamid quotes. The question is, how do we know that that really wasn't a place to live? That Rabbi Yossi said, "Eini dar ella bimkom Torah." I'm only going to go to live in. Maybe it is a makom Torah. Maybe it could become a makom Torah, right? Maybe he could influence, make it into a makom Torah. So how do we know? He says like this. The person said to him, I want you to live with us. I want you to live by us. I'll give you anything you want. I'll give you all the worldly riches that you desire. What is the first thing that comes out of his mouth? Doesn't say, we want you to teach us. We want you to lead us. We want you to live with us. We'll give you anything you want. There was no discussion of what you can do, of what you should do. No, it's like they have a celebrity. Oh, we want someone like Rabbi Yossi ben Kispa. Sure, we want him living with us. We'll give him anything. Bring him. There was no desire from the question to let him influence us. Okay. But how do we know Rabbi Yossi could not have made it into a Makom Torah? Right? Rabbi Yossi could have taken the money, could have received, could have said, now that I have the money, I can make a yeshiva, I'll make a kollel, I'll make it into a Makom Torah. Look at the words. What does he say? This is why you got to dissect the words. Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma answered to the person. The person said, Rabbi Ritzoncha shetadur imanu bimkomenu. Ritzoncha, is it your will to live imanu with us in our place? With us. Didn't say, come to our city to live, move to our city. It says, live with us. Yeah, with our values, with us, just like we live. His chaberi manu, connect with us, be part of us. Rabbi Yossi understood the ritzon of these people, the ratzon of these people, is to have him living with them, but not to have him being a manhig among them, not to lead them, to live with them. Such a place does not want him to hire Rebbeim, Rosh Yeshiva, make a yeshiva, make a kollel. No, I want to have the celebrity of Rabbi Yossi living with us. We can point and say, we got everything. And we got Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. Wow, we got a great town. No, if that's what you have, that he cannot be the manhik and the mashpia, the influencer, it's not a makom Torah. And Rabbi Yisrael Meir Druk concludes and says, he gives an example, the Panovich Rav, the yeshiva in Israel, that's probably, I don't know if he's from Panovich, but he says, who should be in charge of the funds of a Mossad, of a great yeshiva, of a community? Who should be in charge? Somebody who is a person of Torah. You leave the reins of leadership, leave them in the hands of the Shomrei Torah and mitzvahs. You don't leave the running of a city with the funds, with the ability to hire, to do things. You don't leave them with laymen. Leave them always with somebody who is a person of Torah, whether it's like in Migdal HaEmek, it's Rabbi, what's his name? That rabbi, the disco rabbi. You know what I'm talking about? Huh? Rabbi Grossman, whether it's him, that he's in charge of what goes and what comes in the city, whether it's somebody who relegates in the city, that they're controlling the yeshivas and the shuls and the activities that go on in the city. You don't leave decisions that can affect people's development and children's development. You don't leave that to leaders that do not have the best interest of the spiritual growth. Milton.
I don't agree with that.
Hmm?
You can have, I don't agree with that. You could have someone who's a learning person, mitzvahs, is learning, but he is more into also finances and more geared to that. There's, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong.
You're right.
Having a good showman person who learns, but also
There's no.
spends time in
I agree. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. No. No, it doesn't. No, I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know what's wrong? What's wrong is if you have a community where you're trying to create an environment that is spiritually conducive to development, to leave ideas of recreation open to people who are not necessarily from. That's a problem. But if you want a community center, you want a community center that has I don't know, it has all sorts. It has swimming, it has outings, it has all sorts of things. To leave that to a non-religious leadership, that can create problems. That's what I'm saying.
There are plenty of big knowledgeable set. They're not so skilled.
I agree. He gave only an example. I agree. You definitely need somebody that has the business acumen. Right. I 100%. I agree. Right. That's right. I agree with you 100%. The example I gave is a Jewish community center in a religious town that advertises Friday night activities. That without.
Also so I think it's important for us as Jews to be encouraging others who are, as Rabbi says, not quite.
I understand that, and I'm definitely not. I'm not qualified to offer. I'm qualified to offer an opinion. I'm not qualified to direct how to do this and what mitzvos could be. I don't want to say violated, but what mitzvos could be set aside for kiruv. There are a lot, but for the same token, you want an environment that has the input of Orthodox leadership, and that is something that is very necessary. It's a tight wire. It's a wire to walk on tightly, because you don't want to alienate people who are not yet observant, but you also want to let people know that a Makom Torah is what we strive for, that the only future of B'nai Yisrael, whatever you do, the only future is if you are connected to the Torah. You don't have to sit and learn all day. But if Jews think that we have a wonderful heritage, a wonderful legacy, and we continue for 3,500 years, and we continue until Mashiach comes by not stressing religion, they are mistaken, because the only thing that keeps us as Jews is ultimately religion and observance, whether it's 24/7 observance, whether you're in Kollel, whether you're working all day. As long as we have religion, we have something. Once you are chavshi min ha-mitzvos, once you are free from, you can do whatever you want, then Jewishness will not survive. And that's something that okay. May we be zocha to always live in a Makom Torah, and may we also remember that our greatest riches, our greatest legacy is not the money and it's not the precious things that we have, but it's the Torah and the mitzvos that once we have them can never be taken from us. Have a nice day. Lainey and Jonathan, have a wonderful trip.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yashikolach.
All right, BB's here. I'm going to send them back home.
Looking good.
Have a nice day,
Hey,
and have a great day.
hello, Nathan.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Stay cool.
Have a great day. Thank you.